I want to give you a story. And maybe it should rightly start with in the beginning, because it was in the very beginning of a brand spanking new year that my farming man asked me to go for a ride with him down by the river, to make tracks through the fields of snow, to wind down through the woods hushed under this blanket of white, and make our way to where the river winds slow under the willows laced in this skirt of ice. But just south of this grove of apple trees, huddled close in the January winds, the field wasn't a frozen solid safe, but this soggy bog under an unsuspecting cloak of snow, which meant that my man and I went down like in a winter quicksand, mud spinning up and ATV stuck in this mucky sea. And there we were in the beginning of a new year, already mired down and stuck. You know that of which I speak. But you've got to know that my farming man had a cable winch at the front, already at the ready of this all-terrain vehicle. And he slogged to one of those gnarled old apple trees and slung the cable around, and he engaged that electric winch. And that all-terrain vehicle here, it just churned and dug and spun, and the farmer rocked and the ATV gunned, and the winch kept hauling the cable up, which was what kept hauling the ATV inch by sloppy monkey inch out of the mire until it finally lurched free. And then, not to be undone now that he was unstuck, my farming man turned and grinned and asked me to get back on the all-terrain vehicle and ride down the river bank with him, past where the cattle tracked, down to the water's edge, to drink down past the low river crossing, and down through the cedars heavy with snow. And when he revved the ATV's engine to run us through the snowy tangle of neck-high grasses where the river curved north, I shook my head and I leaned close to him, revving that engine up. And I said it close to right there at his ear, and pulled his leg, and he said, "Now you think you can just get through anything now, don't you? Because you got a winch on the front of this thing." But he was already shaking his head, pointing across the barren clearing filled with this knee-high snow. And he said, "Absolutely not, because look around you. You can only get unstuck if you're close to a tree." And he cut the engine, and everything stilled, and I could hear the river running and the truth of things running through everything. There is no getting out of any mire without an anchor. There is no hauling out of muddy messes without the tree of Christ. There is no way to traverse all of life's terrain without the cross tree of Jesus. There is only one way ever to get unstuck, and that is to stick close to the man who went to the cross of Calvary. In the beginning of a new year, the world isn't what we expected. And when the terrain is different than what we hoped, we can become more disoriented than we've ever known. When what did work now doesn't work, when what we envisioned isn't what we now are living, we get stuck. When we are deeply disoriented, deeply disillusioned, deeply stuck, our immediate default is to return to our old way of doing things, reorient to our worn out ways, the ways that got us stuck in the first place. The way that got you stuck can't be the way that will get you unstuck. The way you came here is not the way out of here. The terrain under all of our feet has forever changed. And because of a global pandemic that has caused an economic tidal wave that has shaped societal shifts. And if we honestly look at the geography of reality, the truth is this isn't Kansas anymore. And we aren't going back to that Kansas, because the Kansas we knew doesn't exist anymore. We get to grieve. We get to, and we need to pause and acknowledge and lament and feel and deeply grieve. But we are not getting stuck. When you're stuck, the way free is proximity to the God-man who hung on the tree. Because if you don't have something to hold on to, someone to hold on to, the muck of everything